Okay, second Zoom online session. Andrea and I are doing the practice test finding on mastering biology. How to find practice tests which are required. I'm saying required doesn't mean it is graded, but it is very important and it will help you grade better on my quizzes, which are labeled with letter B. Like quiz 1B is going to be from chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and it involves logical analysis, application, and in-depth understanding of the concepts. How would you know before taking the test that you're ready for that kind of test or not? Is by taking these tests. Where are they? They are in your mastering biology. Where in mastering biology is what I'm showing. Before we do that, let me tell you something that before you take the test, I highly recommend you to take these practice tests. I won't even know that you have taken this practice test. No points lost when you take this practice test. And they will give you a glimpse of what are standard tests. These are different kinds of questions. And these practice tests are from the same textbook publisher who gave us teachers the test banks. Yeah. So before you take the real test, make sure that you take this test to get an experience how the language on the test is going to be, because the language, I'm telling you, something that you read in the textbook, my PowerPoints and from my videos might not exactly match the test questions. That is why it is a test, right? That is why it is a test. Otherwise, why will it be called a test, right? So the language, the words, the terminology, the vocabulary could be a little different, not extremely different, right? But then it will test your understanding, in-depth understanding, and your analytical skills. For that, you have to get an experience, and this is a way to do it. Go ahead, Andrea. Click on, scroll up a little bit, click on more. All Andrea did was simple, went to Canvas, went to the course, clicked on My Lab Mastering on the left, which is now black in color, and then clicked on more, and now click on study area. You see study area under Pearson e-text. Okay, scroll a little up, Okay. There are practice tests and there are cumulative tests. I prefer cumulative tests over practice tests. Practice tests are on individual chapters and they're quite simple. They don't prep you for the kind of test questions that I have given in quizzes, quiz Bs, right? Quiz 1B, quiz 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, all these tests. So yes, you can do practice tests on your own. You can also do something there is something else. As soon as you open as a student, you have something else on the top right corner, which I'm not getting the name right now. Do you know what they are, Andrea? There is a little practice kind of thing which won't let you go to the next question unless you understand that question, unless you answer that question right. That is something like practice.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what it's called.
That's okay. Click on cumulative test. Now here it will give you an option to select number of questions that you want to make a practice test with. Go ahead and click 30 or 40 questions, whichever you feel like to, Andrea. We are not doing it now, just for the practice. And your first test is going to be on chapters 1, 2, 3, 4. So check them. And now go to the create quiz button at the box at the right bottom. Create quiz, you see none, not extreme right, but under the click create quiz, yes. So now what it will do is it will take 30 questions, approximately equal number of questions from each chapter that you have selected, and it will give you a test. Think that you're taking the real quiz now, and just get an experience of how the questions are and how well you do. And here is what is my best tip ever. My students really like this. When you take this test, on purpose, Andrea is going to choose a wrong answer now. Let's say you happen to choose wrong answers for out of 30 questions, 28 questions you chose wrong answer. And every time you choose a wrong answer, it will yell at us in red and it will tell you that, hey, this is why it is wrong. And this is what you need to read. Make sure that you write down why that choice is wrong. Okay, I'm not asking you to do it, select a wrong answer on purpose. I'm just telling you that when you take the practice test, if you happen to choose wrong answers and it is giving you hints and comments and teaching you, please write down those notes, write down those points to your notes and study those. That is how you will know what you do not know. Okay, a neutral atom of chlorine has an atomic number 17. It has how many electrons? Atomic number is 17. So let's go ahead and choose 2. You see that? It will say it is wrong, and it will also teach you why it is wrong. Let me tell you something. Let's say the same question appears on the test, right? Out of 30 questions that you have taken, let's say even 15 questions appear on the test, or 10 questions that you would have gone wrong or that you would have answered wrong if you had not taken the practice test. Those you will get it right just because you have taken the practice test. Do you agree, Andrea?
Yes.
Right? How wonderful is that? You won't answer them wrong because you took a practice test and it's a similar question. You won't know the question. You can't frame the question because you're not teaching this, right? I'm getting the paycheck. So I'm supposed to do this. And I'm showing this. This is the most I can do. Okay. You're not getting the paycheck. Why will you sit and make questions? Let me tell you one thing. One last thing about the test taking skills. All those people who take these competitive tests, right? MCAT, TEAS test, and all these, they whoever scores really high on those tests, they have done these practice tests. Okay, they have practiced these tests. They don't just master the concepts, memorize the concepts thoroughly and become master in the concepts and just go up here on the test and face the questions. Okay, question is hitting face on. No, that's not smartness. If we are smart, I always tell all my students, if we are smart, we are supposed to use our smarts for bettering our own life, making our life better. Don't suggest others that you live like this, you talk like this, you may do this, you could do this, I would have done this. Don't do that. Just help yourself. You're smart. Use your time for yourself. Yeah. And also another thing, with this I will be done. If you're thinking that by taking all these MCAT tests, I think people pay around like $300 to $500 in order to take MCAT tests. Paying that much huge money and going to the test, many people do not get good scores. Do you agree, Andrea?
Yeah.
Do you think people get good scores? Like 80% of the people who take MCAT tests, do they get good scores to get into medical college?
Not really, no.
No. How can these MCAT people do this to us, right? We are paying so much money. We study hard and go. Is it true that people who go to take MCAT tests, they don't study at all? No, they study their socks off. They study a lot. Then in spite of that, they get very low score. But then they never complain. They don't file lawsuits against them, do they?
No.
Right? No, because they know that they haven't done enough preparation. How do they know? Because MCAT people choose those kind of questions on the test, which will tell us, frankly declare to us, prove to us that we are not prepared enough with the material. Why let anybody else give a chance to prove to us that we are not prepared enough? We are not good enough. Why don't you do it the other way? You know that you are going to take a test, a tough test. Why don't you prepare for the test questions? Face all the practice test questions, do each question 3 times. Finish studying the chapter, do the practice test, each question 2 or 3 times, master those answering the test questions, and then go take the test. It's as simple as that. Only thing is, I wish I had a teacher who told me like this, that, hey, this is what you need to do. Nobody ever told me. I really feel bad that nobody ever told me. If somebody had told me, I'm telling you, I would have never left even a single question not answered or practiced or stone unturned. I would have done everything. Yeah. So I'm telling you, so please use your time. Yeah. There you go.